Hi, welcome to Settle in Spain. I'm Amanda. I'm here with my husband David, our dog Otis, and our cats Chewy and Impy. We, some would say quite inadvisedly, bought a 200-year-old farmhouse, land and a warehouse here in southern Spain in the mountains of Andalusia in Almeria. This then is our journey to renovate this property, eventually live in it, and then renovate the land as well. But we have no experience, we're not builders, we haven't even owned property before together, so this really is an adventure. This week then we go in search of the septic system, something that's quite essential going forward to work out where our plumbing is going. As those of you who have been following us know, we have one outdoor bathroom in the back passage area and no other indoor plumbing. So we go in search of the septic system in order to plan that going forward. We take out some more stuff from the back 2 rooms, which we are moving forward with in order to get us into this property a bit quicker. We end up creating a great big pile of wood, which I can see just this way here, and I'll show you a picture of in a second, which has come from the wood that was in the back of there, plus an almond tree that we needed to trim so that people could actually drive past it with bigger vehicles. At the end, you can also see one of the local springs where people go to collect beautiful spring drinking water. We took a drive up there to get some water, but also to give Otis a chance to cool off and get in the spring and have a bit of a paddle. My neighbours are just coming past. This always happens when I come out here to do a video. The neighbours then come out to see what's going on. So we've had a heat wave here. As you can see, I'm not dressed in my normal working clothes. The last few days I've not been working at the house, I've just been working online, staying inside in the cool of the old farmhouse where we're renting. That's one great thing about these buildings, those metre thick walls really do keep the heat out. And it's one of the reasons we moved to this area. Here in the mountains, it's a lot cooler than it is on the coast, and it's a lot cooler than where we were living before in Greece. We are just about 1,000 meters up here, so the temperature, although it's been hot this last week, it's not been as hot as some places, and our hearts have gone out to those who are really suffering with the heat at the moment. We've watched with horror the fires that have happened in Portugal, Spain, Italy, Greece, France, and of course even back home in the UK, where crazily temperatures went over 40 degrees. We know climate change is here, it's happening, the climate crisis can no longer be avoided, people can no longer ignore it. One of the reasons I'm so passionate about doing something with the land here is because of that. So, welcome to all of our new subscribers. Don't forget to click that subscription and the bell button because we're not that regular yet with our video uploads. For those of you who have been here before, welcome back. Thank you for sticking with us through this crazy journey. I hope you enjoy this week's, and I'll see you on the next one. To start with, this week, something a little different, a fiesta. The festivals have started again in Spain after the 2 years of COVID. We've been here for 2 years now and not seen any fiestas. Now they're happening every weekend. There's music events during the week. This one was not that far from where we are living, just about 40 minutes down the road, in the village of Seron, the ham festival. And it really was a festival of ham. I'll leave you with a couple of videos of the guys cutting the ham. Basically, the festival involved beer and ham. That was it, guys. Beer and ham and music. Okay, a little explanation then of what is happening next. It's our search for our septic system. As many of you are already aware, there isn't much plumbing in the house. There's an outdoor bathroom and one tap in one downstairs room. But we need to find where the septic system is so that we can plan in our plumbing. This then is the road you always see us driving down at the beginning of our videos. You've got the house here and the warehouse here. Round that side is the front of the house. Here then is our back gate. And through there at the end is the door through to what was the bread oven room, and just there is the outside bathroom, the stairs that go up to the terrace, the well and the outdoor sink. And there is a pipe that comes underneath this road. And it comes over to here and down to this area here, and this is where you're going to see us investigating in this video to try and find out where our septic system is. First of all then, we're at the side of the warehouse on the land. This is the area, if you remember, where there's been lots of rubble and building material dumped underneath that grass there. There's a lot of metal wires sticking up, there's concrete, there's all sorts of things. We do want to do something with this area, and so we needed to check carefully to make sure that there wasn't any septic system in this area itself. We don't want to suddenly put a patio in or anything else, or start digging gardens and find that we've got a septic system there. So we had a good look around this area first, just to make sure there wasn't anything on the immediate outskirts of that building. As you can see, the land is now really dry. This is what I would expect to see at this time of the year here in Andalusia. It's going to be interesting to see how we can change this using the principles of permaculture going forward. I think in some ways we were secretly hoping that the septic would be under this piece of land. It'll be much easier to access, but it looks like it's going to be underneath concrete at the back there. That door you can see open there leads through to a small bathroom, which was a part of the factory that this warehouse was at one point. Looking ahead there, that wall is the wall that I was stood at pointing down to this area earlier. That pipe is the one that leads from the back of the house and takes the rainwater from the roof and the water from the outside sink. We have here a couple of pipe holes in the ground. It was just a matter of let's get investigating, let's find out what things are and where they're going. So then up the steps we've got this large trough area. It has a small concrete wall around it. We decided it was worth clearing this out. Let's find out what's actually in there. Were there any more drainage holes? Is there a link there to a septic system? We've got the pipe coming out of the wall. We've got the other pipe next to it, which we believe comes from the bathroom. That is the septic system. This you can see David pulling out are weeds that have blown in from around the land. Those spikes are not spiky. No, we don't. There's nothing under there in that case. As I said earlier, we believe there were further buildings at the back of here at one point. We've seen these on Google Earth. We think that's what's being dumped on the land. We could see more clearly now where those buildings came to and started to make some ideas of what was going on at the back of here, where there's plumbing in the walls, there's electricity into the walls. Though it's still got to find that septic tank somewhere. We still had one end of that trough to clear. There was a lot more of that weed in there. This is tumbleweed. It looks spiky, it looks absolutely lethal, but this was quite old stuff and it just crumbled in your fingers, luckily. So the tumbleweed was cleared out, but there was nothing underneath it. Completely clear, just a concrete trough, for no apparent reason. Having expertly tapped on the ground to see if we could hear if things were hollow, where anything was, it was time to head inside.
Yeah, you'll need that for the spider overhead. Oh, it's everywhere. Oh.
This then would have acted as the bathroom and changing room for that factory that was in the warehouse originally. It was absolutely full of spiders. They were at every level, up high and down low. And the only way to clear them was to get this rake and sweep through the area as we went. I don't know about you, but I don't do spiders. As I said, we have no experience of doing this. We do not have any experience of plumbing or anything to do with septic systems, but we've been on Google and Mr. Google Pants is quite handy. We've also spoken to some really knowledgeable people. One of our neighbours, Derek, is really knowledgeable when it comes to plumbing and electrics, and he advised us that the best way to find the septic system, I keep saying that word wrong, septic system, was to take the toilet off and look down there. So this is us taking the toilet off. This toilet was not screwed down in any way, it was just stuck down really, really, really well with an awful lot of sealant.
Known in Spanish, incidentally, as llave inglés.
Ah!
The English key. It's official. No one's shat in there for ages.
Next, it was time to get out a very clever little camera. This we'd bought online. David uses these at work normally. Engineers call them shufti scopes. Comes from the word shufti, meaning to look or watch in Arabic. It's actually an endoscope on the end of a 5-meter cable. It connects to your mobile and you can look and see what's going on down in your plumbing. So we'd bought one, and this is what we bought it for, to find out where our septic system is and where our pipes are going. So these are how they work and what we found. I will put a link in the description below to this one that we purchased. So, As I said earlier, we're not plumbers. We have no idea how to plumb a toilet in yet, though having taken one off, we can now see a lot more about it. We didn't know what we were going to find looking down this pipe. We didn't know anything about the plumbing system itself, or where this pipe was going to go, or how to use this particular type of endoscope. So there was a lot of trial and error, trying to work out how to get it to go around corners, what we were actually looking at, how the camera worked as well. It turned out there was a front-facing camera and a side-facing camera. The side-facing camera, I think, was the one in the end that we found more useful, or was it the front-facing? I can't remember now. One thing we did find very useful that was within the app, we could have it on both cameras at once, so we could split that screen into front and side-facing, and that did help us quite a lot to work out where we were going, which way we were going, and what was happening down there. What we did find was a 90-degree angle. That angle went off to the right hand side and off, I guess, towards where the septic system was, which is a relief. It means it's going somewhere. How far, we don't know. We couldn't go much further with this. There was stuff in the pipe. We were advised one good thing you can do is attach these to some kind of hose or power hose and clean as you go, and then you can see more what's happening. Maybe we'll try that another time. When I said right, it means it leads out to that area there, which currently is raised. So it must be quite a way down to where the septic system is. Next then, we had these pipes next to the steps. It was time to check these out to see where they might go. All we could ascertain was that this goes towards where that bathroom is. So heading across underneath those steps, complete with the odd spider and bits and pieces that had washed down with the weather. The next thing we could check was this pipe coming out of the wall covered there in concrete, which we know is coming from the bathroom over in the house, to see if we could really find that septic system once and for all. That pipe there goes down quite steeply to the left hand side and continued and continued and continued. I'm not sure if it took another angle on the way. I can't remember now. I'll have to check that with Dave. But basically we got to the end of the 5 meters and still didn't find the septic. So although we haven't found it, we know it's there somewhere underneath the concrete. We have since spoken in our broken Spanish to our neighbour, and they have confirmed that the septic system is at the back there somewhere. We'll find it eventually. Next up, we needed to tackle this beautiful old almond tree at the front of the warehouse. It doesn't produce much in the way of fruit, I think because it's such an old tree. But it did need cutting back. It was in the way of some of the vans that our neighbours use. They have their own building company, and so we needed to give it a trim, despite the fact that you shouldn't be cutting them back yet. Really, autumn time is the best time to do this, but this was a case of needs must. Then it was time to deal with all those branches and cuttings from the almond tree. We had larger branches that are going to make really good firewood, smaller ones that are going to be fantastic kindling, and lots of leaves, of course. These we put into some old almond bags. There's a lot of those on the property, old almond bags and flower bags, which have been really useful actually as we've been clearing up. We don't yet have a composting system in place. The tradition here is just to pile everything up on the land and burn it. That's what they do, they cut and burn. We want to compost, and we want to get a wood chipper and put things back onto the land in a different way. That was another reason we needed to find out where that septic system was. We can't plan where things were going until we know where things already are. So we soon got this all cleared away. Another day and another task, this time clearing that area at the front of the bread oven. If you remember, to the right of where David is stood, there is a great big pile of wood that would have been just thrown in there and used in the bread oven as and when. So we need to clear all this out. This room is going to become a bedroom. And this has all been cut up and stacked at the front of the house, ready for next winter. There was a really amazing mixture of stuff that we found on that big step, from almond logs, olive logs, to bits of furniture, bits of wood that had been eaten by insects and termites. These guys didn't throw anything away. They made use of everything, which is really good to see, and we will be making use of it as well as firewood. So now we have a fairly decent sized stack of logs to get us started for the winter underneath the carport. Then, for those of you who remember last week, Vicky and Anthony, our friends, helped me take apart the top of this bread oven, and this week David and I get the bottom out. I say David and I, it was mainly Dave. He put the hard work in this. As you can see, we got ourselves one of those big things to do it with. Those tiles on the top were really thick, and then underneath there was a mixture of small stones and extremely large ones. Some of the bigger stones we actually had to break up in order to physically move them. The stones we have kept and put to one side for another project in the future. The rest of it, I'm afraid, had to go. Now, this bread oven was old, it was beautiful, but it was also absolutely enormous. I really wanted to keep it. When I first saw it, I thought it was the most amazing thing, but it's just not practical. The amount of wood it would take just to heat this up, and then for the amount of hours it would be hot, it's just not practical today for us. Our plan going forward is we are actually going to try and build a much smaller version over on the land next to the warehouse, something we can really use. And these rooms are going to be turned into a bedroom and bathroom. Hot work today, Dave.
Ah, AGE is a problem.
As with just about everything we've done in the house so far, this involved taking huge amounts of material in a wheelbarrow round to the skip at the front of the house. It's hard work, particularly in this extra hot weather that we've had recently. David did do a lot of the work, but we did take it in turns. I also took my fair share of wheelbarrows around there. And while he was busy in that room, I was in the room just next to it, clearing out the last bits from there as well. So, more clearing. We also managed at this stage to break a wheelbarrow. I don't know if you've noticed, but both of the barrows we use are actually quite old. One of them was in the property when we bought it, the other one we picked up second hand from somebody. It had had a lot of use before. So when the wheelbarrow is used, the other person is having to fill a bucket and carry it through. In this case, it was me doing that, and I didn't realise David was behind me with a camera at this stage. Needless to say, on our shopping list for next time we're at the hardware store is a new wheelbarrow. One of the last jobs that got done at the house this week was David cutting up some of those huge logs that were at the back of the house there in the yard. And we found another one of these. A couple of people said that they thought it might be a thresher from the one we showed you before that's in perfect condition. I've not been able to find anything online about them. Please comment below and tell us some more. What is this? Is it a thresher? How does it work? Thank you. This then is a trip to a local spring that we made. There are lots of them in the mountains around us here near Oria. Otis wasn't sure at first about putting his feet in that water. I don't think he realised it was shallow enough for him to stand up in. But once he did realise, there was no getting him out of there. I think he would have followed it down the hill given half the chance. We really are lucky to be where we are in this region in Almeria. It's one of the driest regions in Spain, but we do have natural springs around us. There's a couple of decent sized local swimming pools that are also fed from natural springs and are beautifully cool to swim in at this time of year. This then is the road leading from the spring, going up towards the main road that then heads down towards Oria. Thank you for joining us this week on our crazy journey. To our new subscribers, welcome and thanks for joining in. Don't forget to click on that notification bell so that you know when our next videos are going to be available. As I've already said, we have no idea when that'll be at the moment. With this current heat wave, we have no idea what we're going to manage to get done for the next video. You'll just have to wait and see as much as we do. See you next time, guys.